Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Allison Drini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going, Mr. Pole Position?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Tom looks fully recovered from this weekend, and I am apart. I am just like a piece of a human.
You know what it is? It's this hat. Listeners, I'm wearing a hat. My hair is so bad.
I didn't
It's a
notice the
hat day.
hat. I didn't notice the hat at all.
You see what it says in the back?
Goodyear.
I got this somewhere. I don't know where, but it feels like a
Did you get that at
old piece of swag.
Solo Nationals?
Maybe.
I feel like they were giving out Goodyear swag.
I got my Goodyear hat on, making me look refreshed.
I like how Goodyear.
Why are you not refreshed?
Because I had to go straight to work after a grueling weekend, and I got sick. And so I started the weekend. Tom and I went endurance racing this weekend. First time ever on the same team.
And
Courtesy
somehow
of,
DJ still lost. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was so rude. I didn't mean to. I don't know where that came from.
Courtesy of Spicy Cat Racing, his name is Ryan. And so I was traveling last week for work, and I got sick. I work remote, and like literally the one time I go into the office, I get sick. This is why working remote is the best, and you should never go into the office. But anyways, so I was already getting sick on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday I started to feel like a little like, is that something in my throat where it could happen or not happen? And then Friday was like, oh crap, I have a sore throat. Like I woke up with a sore throat, and I was like, oh dang it. And then like as the night went on, it just like got worse and worse and worse. And I think I actually had like a fever like Friday night into Saturday. But unfortunately, we didn't really sleep all that much from Friday into Saturday. But we'll cover that in a second. I was kind of thinking, Tom, that we would kind of just, from our perspective of the weekend, and like kind of go through it like in a timeline.
Chronologically?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the word.
All right. Well, you left your house first, so you start.
I drove to Tom's house because it was on the way. Then I picked him up.
DJ showed up at my house, and he picked me up, and then we started driving to South Carolina. So we raced Lucky Dog Endurance Series at Carolina Motorsports Park with Spicy Cat Racing, which is Ryan Lorman, who also helps operate the Hooked on Driving franchise in the Southeast. And then Anthony Guarnieri. Anthony, tell me if I said that right. Guarnieri was the fourth driver. And we drove down on Thursday to Ryan's house. Good job. Hell yeah. All right. Good pronunciation.
Nice. Nicely done.
And we stopped at Ryan's house for the night. And then the next day was like DJ worked from home, and Ryan and I did errands. All right. Now your turn.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, work from home quotations. I worked in Ryan's office, which was very nice. He had like a little desk set up for me. Ryan's wife fed me like the most amazing avocado toast ever.
Dude, same. It was so good.
Dude, like with like garden picked tomatoes, to the point where I was like eating it, and I was like, I gotta find, like, there's no way these came from a grocery store. So I went out into the living room, and she was hanging out with her mom, and I was like, these like came out of a garden, right? And the mom was all excited. She's like, oh, it came out of my garden. And I was like, oh, okay, yes. Because there's no way this was sitting on the shelf in a grocery store somewhere, because I don't know if I've ever had a tomato that actually tasted like something before. Like the tomatoes tasted like something. It makes me wonder, what the hell's in the grocery store? Because that's not what tomatoes taste like to me.
To me, tomatoes just taste like a little bit like dirty water.
Yeah,
but not like gross water. It's like a little bit of a dirty water.
Yeah, like almost like gritty cucumbers is kind of like, I don't know why we're explaining what tomatoes taste like on the podcast, but that's where we're at right now. But these tomatoes,
an avocado toast podcast this week.
These tomatoes actually tasted like something, and Ito's like, wow, you guys have only eaten shitty tomatoes in your life. Yeah, Ito, I think your privilege is showing, my friend. Damn.
Oh,
shots fired. He goes, "I guess."
I think what made the avocado toast was the, like, garlic spiced balsamic vinegar over top of it,
Ooh, yeah.
and then, like, the spiced salt that she put on it. I watched her
Mm.
make it. I was
I
like, "Whatever you're doing right now looks like you know what you want out of this, and I'm so excited to eat this." She also made me a salted caramel maple latte,
Whoa.
cold iced latte, when I got out of bed at, like, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Tom has this superpower.
I
You did that Finger Lakes too. Like, you just slept forever.
I do. Well, if I don't have a reason to get up, I don't get up, which is maybe like a little bit immature of me. But if I had known that we were going to go on 7 hours of errands, then I would have gotten up a lot earlier. But I didn't. So I was up at like 7 in the morning, and then I was kind of milling around. I was on my phone a little bit, and then I fell back asleep at like 8:30, and I got up at like 10:30 maybe. And then I would kind of like I took a shower, I got ready slowly, and I had a bunch of texts from you like, "Hey, come down. Hey, good morning." And I had message from Ryan like, "Hey, coffee's ready if you want it."
Well, because
So
Ryan was
then,
nervous. He's like, "Hey, I had a bunch of stuff to do today. Should I leave without Tom, or should I wait for him?" I'm like,
yeah,
"Dude, he's got to be up. Let me text him." And that was at like 9 o'clock. And like, like
I was on my second sleep. I
I
was
know
on my second sleep.
that's the second stint. Tom was on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
double stint of sleeping.
So when I come downstairs, Ryan's wife is like, "Hey," or not "Hey," but like we were getting close to coming on checking on you, and I was like, "What? At what point do you come check on the body?" Like it had been about 12 hours. Do you wait 24? Do you wait 18? How many?
Yeah, I wonder what the point is. You know what? If it got to like probably like 2 or 3 o'clock, I think I would have like creeped up the stairs and been like, Tom, Tom, I'm coming up.
Wake up!
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was so then you were working from home. I don't think you have anything exciting from that day
No.
until the end of the day. But Ryan and I went up to Charlotte. They live a little bit south of Charlotte. We went up to like Costco and a bunch of errands and picked up some fuel jugs from somebody and some chairs from somebody else. And like we were just doing like the odds and ends before an endurance racing enduro, which is very common. And then when we got back to the house, we packed up his truck and we were leaving the driveway. And
We get a
tell
phone
him what
call.
happened.
We get a phone call, and Ryan goes, Guys, I have bad news. I just got a call from Eladio, or maybe it was Anthony. I'm not sure who called him.
No, no, you're backwards. We
Am-
found out first.
Oh, we
We
found
were in the
out?
driveway. Yeah, and
Oh,
in the
oh,
group
because it was
chat
in the
for the
group
race.
chat. Yeah, I forgot it was in the group chat. So then I called Ryan. Oh, I forgot how this went down. This is how tired and sick I was. I have this. Tom's gonna carry the podcast today. So, yeah. So I was like, oh no, the car failed tech. It doesn't have a dash bar. And at this point in time, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna talk to the guy at tech, be like, oh, we're new to this. We don't know what we're doing. Like, can we just have one for the next event or something like that? Like right now, that's my game plan is like, I'm gonna figure out a way to make this happen, or we get really clever with PVC pipe or something like that's where my brain's at right now, right?
So we literally went like a bunch of us came multiple hours to do this endurance race. We have a race car that, by the way, has been logbooked for NASA since 2011. So it's like 15 years worth of racing on this car. We're gonna do this endurance race. Everyone's done a ton of work already. Like the entry fees paid, and it goes through tech, and they're like, you don't have a dash bar in your roll cage. Sorry, you failed. And we're like,
Oh, oh.
like who installs roll cages at the racetrack? Apparently we do because that was our only option to race. So within what 10 minutes they had sourced everything but the metal, and then within 30 minutes they had found multiple sources for the steel that we needed to like weld it in. And we had a welder at the track, and we had somebody go get the steel, and we had uh Eladio was going to be able to weld it, and they
You,
had Anthony already pulling the dashboard out of the
yeah, I was
car.
gonna say you say we, but I just my goal, like, and I ran out of steam. I ran out of steam. I wasn't feeling well, but I was just trying to make jokes because that's all I could offer for like this
Yeah.
entire operation. Eladio's like in the car upside down with his feet coming out, like well, and honestly, so it's a I'm gonna blank on it's a TIG welder. It's the welder without like the gas, so like it's really hard to get like a good weld on it, and it actually looks incredible. It's a flux welder. Thank you, Eladio. And like I've never seen a weld this clean without like that neutralizing gas, like on a big welder. This is just like a welder that I plugged into like a 110 outlet, and it actually turned out incredible. Like I was telling Ryan, I'm like, you know, maybe this is a temporary thing just to pass tech, like just kind of plan on like ripping the thing out and like getting a real one installed after. And like, but then once I saw it, I was like, holy crap, Eladio like outdid himself here, like installing this dash bar. Like it was legit. Like it's
Yeah.
permanent. It's forever now.
If anything, like the story of this podcast will be like, this is what going endurance racing with your buddies is like.
Yeah,
Like, I think
definitely.
if you didn't just like rent a ride in WRL or you didn't like build a car with a group of people for a race series, like this is what it's like. So yeah, we were driving. It's an hour and a half to the track. You and I are in your car. Ryan's in his own car, picking up tires still that are like mounted and picking them up from some other truck. So we're like all converging on the track. Half the people are already there. They're already pulling the dash out of the car. We've got metal coming from somewhere else. We've got like people going all over the place for everything. I think Diego and Emilio, whose last name I missed, but Diego Del Real, who we sim race with, like they were picking up stuff. It was like, okay, oh, we have to get this dash bar in the car or else we can't race. And we've done so much work at this point that like not racing is not an option. Like we're gonna get a thing in the car. And again, we use everyone but DJ and I. So we get to the track. They have the dash out of the car. We like meet everybody for the first time. I do. You met everybody once before. I met everybody for the first
Yeah,
time.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we say hi. And we start like, I guess, just like getting immersed. So Ryan shows up. I start cooking dinner. That's my contribution to the weekend, as I was the chef, uh, grill master, grill dad. And then the metal shows up, and Eladio starts hand like what do you call that? A
he had,
circular
he,
saw?
he has a grinder and he's like,
Grinder.
yeah, he's like sculpting it to be like just right. Like and I don't know what Eladio's doing. I just saw him over there with duct tape, like making shapes on it, and then he was just standing there for I don't know, like what, an hour or two, 2 hours, 3 hours, like notching this like steel bar to so it like fits like flush when they like wedge it in there. And so Anthony and Eladio are working on this. Anthony doesn't give himself any credit. He said that he was just there breaking the windshield wiper stock right before a guaranteed rain race. So yeah, at some point, so when they were pulling the dash out, the windshield wiper stock got broke, was destroyed in some capacity. So Anthony fixed it with duct tape and an Allen key. That was our windshield wiper stock.
Yep.
Yep.
So I guess I don't remember anything else from that night other than long story short, at least Anthony and Eladio were up till like 4 in the morning getting the dash bar installed.
I tapped out at some
Ryan went
point.
home. You and I and Ryan all left at like 1:30 in the morning to go back and sleep. And Eladio says, now I'm remembering that's my missing Allen key. It's still duct taped into the car.
That's
So they're up super, super, super late. Like, and then first thing in the morning, the car goes through tech at 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. It passes. They give us all of our stuff, and then like the rest of us converge on the track again uh, at 7:30 a.m. And then we like finally are ready to race, which was like at this point it just felt like that's what we did. But the fact that that happened in what 8 hours worth of time,
we
eight or
were
nine
like
hours of time,
Tom,
is crazy.
Tom, just because Tom has like PTSD from all the places he's shown up to drive a car this year, and like it just didn't happen. So like in Tom's
The
mind,
last
he's like,
3 years.
yeah, well, I guess just racing cars in general. This is probably the best way to approach a weekend is where you show up hoping that you get to drive a car, but not anticipating that you'll drive a car. So you just show up with the hope and the prayer that some racing will break out, but not that like not expecting it to happen by any means. So like I came in with anticipating to race a car, unfortunately. So I was like, oh no, like I was already like thinking can I still make the Steel Cities autocross event? Like if I left right now, like that's what I'm thinking. But then we show up on Saturday and we have a past tech form. And then when we had that past tech form, I was like, oh my God, we're going racing. Like it set in because my expectations got lowered to where Tom's were. And then all of a sudden we hit like past tech and like the car was running and everything seemed functional. And yeah. So uh we were ready right before qualifying and the track was wet. So it was, it was between whether me or Tom were going to drive the car. And I'll admit, Tom, you're faster in the wet than me, especially in an unfamiliar track. like in the wet. Like if I've driven the track in the wet before, I think I might be able to hold my own. But like you just have such a knack for it. Speaking of knack, Tom went out there and made everyone look silly. We were
Wait,
in.
hang on. No, you're skipping two critical things.
Am I
First of all, we have to talk about what Lucky Dog is,
okay?
because now we get to talk about the
Oh,
actual
yep,
fun part, the racing, and
yep.
we also have to talk about the drivers' meeting
Oh,
because that's what we do here.
yeah. I need like to cue music for the drivers meeting. Remember
No, it's
this?
good.
Yeah. Uh, all right, Tom. What about the drivers meeting?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lucky Dog Endurance Series. I don't know. Uh, Turn it off. Is it still there? There. And
It's quiet.
I forget what she said. She said something about. I lost it. Let's set the stage for the race first before we get into like how it went.
Oh, okay.
So Lucky Dog Endurance Series is a bracket racing endurance series on 200 treadwear tires. Specifically, it's actually spec Hankook RS4,
Yep.
which is like the bottom of the barrel 200 treadwear tire
They
that you
weren't
can
even
buy.
fast tires like 7 years
Yeah,
ago.
right. So it's like uh that the tire aside, bracket racing, if you're not familiar, is kind of a strange way to class endurance series. So
Yeah.
in general, like basically they run qualifying and they set the classes based on the lap times you set in qualifying.
And in the race,
And
and your class can change at any moment if you just start going faster than you
yeah,
probably should be.
so in the drivers meeting, they basically say there are two rules with this series. You have to pass tech on safety equipment and you have to have Hankook RS4s. So if you think someone else is cheating, those are the two rules. That's what this series is. So don't come to me and complain about cheating. That's kind of like
Yeah.
that was part of something she said in the drivers meeting, but it's class based on your performance in qualifying and your average pace across all four drivers across the 8 hours, 7-hour race. And what that means is you're basically driving to a relatively target lap time, and they set the fastest class. There's A, B, C. They set the fastest class based on the fastest car in qualifying. Then B class is some, like, call it maybe 3 seconds a lap slower. It's not announced, but it's roughly a bit slower. And then the C class is a little bit slower than that. And then they also set a lap time faster than the target for A class. That is called the what, super dog? Is that what they call it?
Yes, they call yeah, Super Dog, I believe is what they. Yeah, okay. People in the
Yeah.
chat are telling us.
And super dog is a lap time that they consider to be outside of the spirit of the series.
Yep.
So if you basically at CMP, if you were running 147s, you were in A class. If you go faster than 145, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of you said 145, you are considered to be like not even in the spirit of what we're doing, which I thought was a really interesting way to present that. It's kind of like a like here's what here's what we're doing. Here's the pace you're supposed to run. Obviously, nobody did that at this weekend, but I wonder in the past if they've had people kind of like butt up against that or something.
Yeah.
All this to say, DJ and I both agree that it's kind of a very synthetic competition because it's not based on your car prep, it's not based on even your driving, really. It's based on like the average lap time that you can achieve while running a very similar to Champ Car. They have a 2-hour stint limit. You can only drive for 2 hours as a driver. You have to stop for 5 minutes, or what ended up being 7 minutes at this race, in the pits to refuel. They keep things very, very, very safe for like pit stops and driver stint lengths. Um, so basically, all you have to do is do 2 hours at the target lap time in your class. That's kind of like all you're
Yeah.
targeting, which is a
You
little
know
bit
what?
odd to us.
You know what's weird? So like where you place is kind of like, let's say you just maximize the performance of your team, your car, like that's as fast as you guys go, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you win because where they bracket the classes is completely depending on who else showed up and where you fall in that list, like that overall list of where people would have placed basically. Now they do like set the classes like I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 hours into the race, and so then you kind of know who you're competing against. The thing that surprised me, like, and it might surprise you, like listening to that, you're like, okay, well then you really don't have control over like where you place or anything like that, and I'll agree with you. But the thing that was interesting is it still felt like a competition. Like it it pulled out all the same emotions, but without like the potential lizarding of like maximizing the class and like it was really interesting actually and it kind of made me think that like maybe this is actually how you keep motorsports from becoming like wildly expensive, like chasing the pinnacle pointy end of a class because you make the class like through the bracket different every time. So there's no point in chasing like the pinnacle of like car prep to class rules or like you kind of just like for example like the stuff that we were talking about to do better the next time we do this really didn't have all that much to do with the car. It was more just like consistency on our pit stops and like quality of life things.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything involved with the pace of the car or whatever. And that kind of seems like I and I wouldn't have came up with this on my own, like how Lucky Dog, or I'm sure other series do. I don't think I'm not necessarily insinuating that Lucky Dog came up with it either. But we've talked about this on the podcast before, where how do you control like the cost of motorsports because people are always going to try their hardest to win, and spending money is part of that. Uh, is this like the way where like you set a lap time that's outside of the spirit, you disincentivize like building to like the absolute limit of the rules because there really wasn't any besides a dash bar in your roll cage. Um, like I on it, it seems like such a healthy place to go have fun with your friends and a car in an endurance race.
Yeah, Taylor said it's like a time, speed, distance rally, wheel to wheel, which is very accurate in a
Yeah.
way. Um, the part of it that I don't like is it doesn't reward driving better to a
Yes.
point. Now, I obviously driving well. You had to drive well to do a good job in that race, but realistically, if you had a car that could go 2 hours in the race and was really fast in a straight line, then you were like kind of set up for success versus where we ended up with we were racing a NASA Spec E30. No, oh sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so
Spec
sorry.
3, which is an
NASA people don't kill
E36.
me. Yeah, it was a Spec 3. It was a Spec E36. Uh it was, it's a 17-gallon fuel tank and it could go what we ended up finding out about an hour and 40 to 45 minutes with extensive fuel saving.
Extensive, yes.
So we'll get to that in a second, but but the reality was if we were like just faster in a straight line and we could drive to our lap time, it would have been so much easier. So that's like kind of the only downside I see to it. And I've done one bracket endurance race before. It was American Endurance Racing (AER). I raced with Aaron Lichty and Rob Manucherry and Dave Montgomery, and I did it in a Miata at NCM like 2017, I think 2018. And we made the mistake of going out and qualifying. In that series, you do it on Friday, and the brackets are set on Friday. We went out and we were like third overall in the qualifying, but we had pushed the car to its absolute limit to like do that lap time. Then we were in the top class, but we had to run that lap time for 8 hours the next day. And the Miata just couldn't do it. Like we were either abusing the car, burning up too much gas, or too slow. And we realized that everybody else was much more calculated in where they classed themselves because either the drivers weren't as fast, but they didn't need to be because the cars were faster in a straight line than us, or they didn't push to the limit in qualifying. But this one was weird because they do ABC classing. In qualifying, you only get the pole sitter gets pole and everything else is first come first serve. So like the A class, they just set the classing after qualifying A, B, C, and then like halfway ish through the first race, which is the same day as qualifying, they reclassify any cars that are out of position.
And they can
So anyway, that's how,
reclassify
that's how it works,
and they can
and they can reclass
reclassify
you at any
anybody
time.
at any time. Like if somebody just like pulls
Yeah.
out a ripper lap and they're like, "Oh, that's the true pace of that car," moved.
Yep. Okay, so that means we get into qualifying. Um, as DJ mentioned, it was wet, so we had two plans. We had either if it was dry, Ryan was going to drive and do all of qualifying and then start the race, and then we were going to like take it from there. And if it was wet, we agreed that I should do qualifying, and then if it was still wet, you would go next,
Yep.
and then we would like play it by ear as if it dried out. So we had plan A, plan B. It turned out we needed plan B, which was I do qualifying in the wet, and I ended up getting overall pole in A class, but what was interesting, so we got overall pole for the race for the green flag. We started the race, but it was drying out basically like lap 3. It was already dry. It was like dry line, let's say. But the interesting part of the driving, which I think is a good topic for this, like a good discussion point for this podcast, let's say, is I had no idea how long this car would go on fuel, other than to say I typically burn a lot of fuel if I'm pushing hard. So I basically started the race in the first 5 to 6 laps. I set my reference points to lift and coast and like try to figure out how much fuel can I save early relative to the pace of the rest of the field. So I don't just get swallowed back up, but also so that I don't put us in A class because we're basically confident that we're not supposed to be in an A
Yeah.
class car. We're not that fast in a straight line. It's a basic E36.
No arrow.
Uh, yeah, like nothing, and we
It's
and we know the fuel won't go 2 hours.
it's
So like my job for the first stint was to set the tone for like how much fuel do we need to save? What's the pace we need to set?
yeah.
Don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Don't like, and I basically like I kind of pulled from a bunch of different past experiences where you set a lift and coast into corners where you can save as much fuel as possible while losing as few seconds as possible. And at CMP, that ended up being like you can lift and coast into turn 1, turn 4, turn 8, turn 11, and turn 14. So there's 5 like coast zones, but you don't want to lift too early so that you're just like slow as hell. And you don't want to lift too late so that you're basically not saving any fuel.
Yep.
And there's this sweet spot where you can start to figure out. I don't know how to describe this better than like a little bit of a feel for
It's it's like
cornering
it's
speed.
yeah,
Go ahead.
but
Yeah.
it's like it where you can lift and it doesn't like it still feels like the car's like somewhat optimized. So like for example, like our lift
Yeah.
points into 8, you needed us like where we were lifting into 8, uh and you did an amazing job like dialing in all those braking zones. And hold on, we're going to back up a second. Guys, Tom got pole position. It wasn't even close. It was like he got pole position by like 2 seconds over like 55 cars. And we were in a E36 with like stock power. It's probably like a slow engine on lowering springs. Like the car had no business being up there. Anthony corrected me. It was 2.5. And it was so funny. Like, so Tom's in the front. We see all the cars going down the front straight. We see him disappear into turn 1, and like all these faster cars are like hounding him, and I'm thinking like, oh man, what is gonna happen? Like, because now he's out of sight, we don't even see it, and I'm thinking like, okay, it would be cool if Tom like maybe gets in like the front pack and like can kind of draft them and like kind of set into a rhythm because we know all those cars are faster, and like Tom said, it was drying out really quickly, and then we see him like entering the kink, and it's just Tom. What happened to everyone else? I don't know. A couple seconds later, here comes everyone else. They were like so far back. Tom had like, I don't know, like a 3 or 4 second lead, like in the first like third of the lap somehow. You just like took off. I wish we had in car, which honestly, Norman, when you're driving really good, the in car looks boring. I bet you were just being clinical and doing exactly what you needed to do, and everyone else is kind of clowning. But like it was so funny because we're all sitting there watching on the pit wall, Tom, like nervous, like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then you come around and then you can feel all of our tension just go boom, just like it just dies off, and we're laughing and and we're at this point, we're all exhausted from the night before. And then the moment you came down that straight, like it's like we all had like a full night's rest because we were like like we were all having so much fun all of a sudden. So yeah, it was that was our perspective. You never got to see or hear about the perspective. So yeah, that was
That's
pretty
so cool.
fun.
Thanks, team. I like my favorite part of the weekend, to be completely blunt, was getting to qualify in the wet. I had, I loved it so much. It was like the best part.
Uh,
All right, I forget where I was.
we were we were
Oh,
talking.
with the
Oh
lifting and coasting and
yeah,
saving fuel. Go ahead.
yeah. Hold on. So where we were lifting and coasting into 8, it was you were on the brakes enough to like pull the nose of the car into 8 where like it would be like super balanced. So like that was our lift point. You weren't like braking hard for 8 and then going in because that like if you think about it like that braking hard is taking like potential energy out of the car, stuff like that. But then eight's kind of a faster corner, so like a lift point that matches where that is makes sense. But like 1 and 11, you kind of need to hit the brakes a little bit harder. It's like you're trying to balance like the optimization of the car. So if it ever feels like the car is just kind of sitting there and you're like waiting to get to the spot, probably lifted too early. There's probably better lifts that you can incorporate into where or like if you know if you were going to shift to fourth for only a second and then go back down to third, then you might as well just do a
Yeah.
longer lift there. Like just like little ways to optimize like what is the least amount of throttle time for the best lap time.
Yeah. What would have been really interesting is to run if we had any practice or time to like figure this out, to run flat out versus
Yeah.
fuel saving. Because I honestly just defaulted to that fuel saving so early, like within the first 5 laps. And I sort of dialed in, like on the flip side of what you just described, there was the opportunity to either go flat out through the whole kink and then break at like the three, and you make turn 11 the slow left hander after that, or you could turn in for the kink and lift at the same time. And instead of driving through the resistance of the tire and the resistance of the chassis cornering, on throttle, you were just coasting and you were losing like barely any time at all. Maybe 2 to 3 tenths, I would guess. And then you could break it like the 1.5 because you're coming in a little bit slower. You still maximize the brakes, like full threshold brake, and you roll the car into the corner with a good trail brake off. Um, it was it was in my brain that like I need to make sure that I get this car as close to 2 hours as possible, no matter what. And so as I start to get caught by other cars, it was a bunch of 350Zs and there was a Lexus SC400 and what else was out
There
there?
was
An
like
FC RX7
there
that
was like
was
a
really
Boss
fast. They won day
302
one.
Mustang. Like there's some fast
A
cars out there.
Boxster. Yeah, and so they started to catch me after it dried out in the first 3 to 5 laps, and they started to kind of reel me in little by little by little. So I'm gauging myself off of like there are these cars catching me. I don't want to be in their class. I want to be in B class. So like it's totally fine if they pass me. Don't get caught up in the race. Just like lift and coast. I finally hit that perfect intersection where I was lifting and coasting and driving the people around me absolutely insane because they're barreling into the corners, but like I'm braking at the one. So like you're not going to outbrake me unless you're already past me into the
Yeah.
corner. So I'm like coasting at the 700. They're braking at the 300. They try to get alongside, and then I brake at the 100. And I
I
had a
will
couple
say
people throwing hands at me and stuff.
I will
But I'm like,
say
don't get caught up in
yeah,
their thing.
yeah. I will say it must be very awkward for the people driving around us, especially like like anytime I was passing somebody on the front straight and then I was lifting like before there was even brake marker boards and then just coasting for a while till I got to the like the 100. Like they must have been so confused because like I passed them, moved to on the line, they're right behind me, and then I lift, and most of the time they would just be like, "Oh, I guess I'm lifting too." But sometimes they'd be like, "Am I passing him again?" And then if I got that like body language from the other car, I would kind of like as I was lifting, like move to the left a little bit to be like, "Nah, right?" Like, because you're like, "Don't like, I'm just gonna drive away from you." I caught you. I'm going to drive away. Just relax for a second, right? Like that's kind of what I was. Like you're trying to communicate what they should do in your own car.
Yeah. And Anthony just said in the chat, it's weird. I didn't notice anyone else fuel saving, even the high powered cars or the big displacement cars. And that's why I kind of wonder, like, did we overdo it on the fuel? I'm not sure. Like, you're not saving, you're not saving 30 minutes worth of fuel, probably.
No.
But we probably saved maybe 10 tops,
Well, the thing is,
which was pretty pivotal to our race because it was a 7 hour race. We had 4 drivers, so we needed it to be
yeah,
what is that
one
essentially?
hour
An
and
hour
40
and
1 hour and 45 minutes, and the pit stops were 7 minutes. So we just had to make it to the hour and 40ish mark.
yeah. Um so anyway, if you're interested in endurance racing or you've never understood fuel saving, it's not short shifting, it's not like partial throttle, whatever. It's like literally find the places where you can minimize the throttle position or just lift early without beating up your lap time, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do my full stint. I think I probably fell to I don't know when. Oh, at one point the kill switch panel fell out of the car and there was some like faulty wiring problems with
And
the
you
kill
did an
switch. So when it
amazing
fell
job
out,
troubleshooting it. I was on the
it,
radio, and Tom goes, "No power, no power." And I go, "What do you mean? Like you're rolling?" And he goes, "Yeah, no power." And then we're like looking around like what do we think that is? What do we think that is? Like we're like troubleshooting without any information. I think I'm like radioing you like do you have dash? Do you have lights? And then you're like no lights, no dash, something like that. So we lost like a minute and a half. Tom did an amazing job. I don't know, were you just like rolling at like 10 miles an hour somewhere, like just coasting?
The car died in turn 4, and I had rolled all the way down from turn 7 to turn 8, which is the side back straight at CMP, and I decided to not pull off at turn 8. Like, I'm gonna give it another second, and then I noticed that the whole dash panel had fallen out. Or not dash, sorry, the kill switch panel
Yeah.
had fallen out, which was basically mounted in where the blower would have been, like the AC,
Yeah, the left
uh,
vent
like
thing.
vent blower thing,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Words.
I grab it and I like shove it back in place and I cycle the car one more time and it comes back alive. So I'm spending the next 5 laps like holding it in place and trying to get it to like cram into, and the car was fine from that point
So,
on.
so Tom
Um,
radios in saying like, "Oh, it was the panel. It fell out. I pushed it back in. I have to push it back in every once in a while to like keep it going." So Anthony's like, like we have this like bright pink duct tape. He's like, "All right, I got the fix for that." Like, so it's like, "All
yeah,
right, cool. Like we'll fix that when we come in." And the way our pit stops were working, because this is just a spec E30. Like it has OEM
6.
everything as far as gas. So we just have these like little VP fuel jugs, and if you've ever held a VP fuel jug trying to dump it into a car, it's pretty slow, even if you have a 7 minute pit stop. So like we're all standing around doing nothing when gas is going in this car because that's the rules of the thing. And then immediately when the gas is done, it is full on like pro racing scramble to like get whatever we need to get done because we're like eating time away from the race because I think we would get the fuel done with like 6 minutes to go. So we had like a minute
Yeah.
or not even. I think we'd,
Oh, and by the way, a minute meaning you're not even allowed to have a driver in the car while fueling for this series. So the driver and everybody are out of the car. It's literally just the fueling and the fire bottle person. And as soon as the gas cap goes back on, then the driver can get back in. So it's a minute or less to do
yeah,
everything DJ is about to say,
but
including get the driver in.
yeah, because I remember one of our pit stops was like 8.5 minutes, and we were like, oh, okay, all right, we could do a little bit better, but like we were just like scrambling the whole time, and like fuel jugs only fill so fast, and um, yeah, uh, so Tom comes in, uh, Ryan was not feeling well just because he didn't sleep. He was supposed to drive second. I was going to drive last, but he's like, no, can you please drive? So I jump in. Anthony's like taping up the thing as like I'm getting belted up. Anthony finishes helping me get belted in. Somebody's checking the oil. Somebody ran around and did all the tire pressures because we haven't done that yet. And then somebody's like, "All right, go." And I almost launched the car in reverse. I like creeped backwards for a second. I was like, "Oh shit, wrong way!" And then I put it in first.
Forgot about that.
I didn't forget. I was like, "Oh my god, I don't," because
Dude, those BMW lockouts, if you've never driven a BMW, especially,
it
I don't
felt
know if
like
it's all of them,
first.
but from the 90s, yeah, reverse is like just a little bit of a bit more tension to the left and then up.
And I
And then like first
this
is like a little
gearbox,
bit less tension
dude.
and up.
Yeah,
So
dude.
to
This
get to one or the other is impossible
Dude,
to
this
me.
gearbox
I
has
hate it.
like no tension. It just feels like you like put the shifter there. Uh, I, I'm glad I didn't just like freaking launch the car because I was just like driving away, and so it started rolling backwards. I was like, shit, first, and then I kind of launched the car. Um, I'm like still doing my belts as I'm going up to the thing. The steering wheel was crooked because the steering wheel doesn't have like a lock to like be like this is definitely straight. So I'm like adjusting it, driving down the pit lane. And at some point I'm like, if they see me messing with the steering wheel, I'm getting like too close. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna mess with it later. So I actually fixed it on my way down to turn 8, which is dumb. But like it was sideways, and I was trying to ask before I drove away, but like there's too much commotion. I was like, "Is my wheel straight? Is my wheel straight?" Because it was straight in the car, or yeah, it was straight in the car. I said, "Is my wheel straight? Is my wheel straight?" But everyone was like panicking. And then somebody was just like, "Go!" And then I like almost left in reverse, and then I like went forward. It was wrong. I was messing with it. I was like, "Ah, they're gonna see me messing with the steering wheel, and they're gonna like give us a penalty or something." So I just drove like the first like part of the lap with the wheel at like 90 degrees, and then fixed it. Uh, So that's how that
I didn't know about that.
started. That's how that started. I will say my first lap I think was still pretty fast. So, uh, like I don't think it cost me any time because like I was struggling with the wheel and the thing to like get it on and off, but on the straight it was just like off on and it like clicked right in. And I was like, thank you because that would have been bad if it was anything other than that. Um, but yeah, that's how my stint started. I put together a stint. Me and Tom were both like fuel starving for like the last 20 minutes of our stint, but we started to like drive around it. It was only on left hand turns, like the slower ones. So we were kind of like, and we both kind of came to the same conclusion where if you like get a really hard pivot initially, and then kind of like have the car like flattened out where it's not under much G load, then you will have a better chance of having throttle after the corner. Uh, or if you, I noticed also if you just like kind of broke a little bit earlier but lighter, then you're more of a chance to have throttle after the corner. So like we were doing like rental go kart shit, trying to like extract the maximum out of the car, right?
Yeah. Which
Uh,
is so budget endurance racing. Like
yeah, dude, it was
that is what it
fun.
is.
It was so much
If
fun.
you if you ever like go either rent or like get a chance to drive a champ car, apparently a lucky dog car, a lemons car, like it just is they're never perfect. This is just what it is. And honestly, half the club racing cars, like I just realized this is like a NASA Spec 3. There every IT car, all of the cars like that are just that's what you get. That it's just the reality of it,
Yep.
which is kind of more fun to me. I had so much fun driving this stock ish E36 on Hankook RS4s. Just
And honestly,
for an hour and
honestly,
40 minutes. Like
dude,
it's
the
good.
the car drove great. I was pleasantly
It was
surprised
really
how
good.
well the car drove. Like you could get the nose pointed, you could get pivots on entry, you could carve on exit. Uh, yeah, it did. It was actually great. The brakes felt good. Like the only thing I didn't like was the shifter, but that's only because I found reverse and looked like a fool in the pit lane. But
you
uh,
you didn't watch Top, right?
I didn't watch what you cut out.
Top Gear, the British Top Gear.
I watched it here and there, but I wouldn't say I could refer to a specific episode.
They did a German sedan challenge, and James May got a Mercedes, which has like reverse is where first gear is where second gear
Oh my
is,
god.
second gear is where third, and like it was a bit the whole time that he kept putting the car in quote unquote first and like
Yeah,
reversing into the car behind him. That's you.
that
That was
was
you
me.
on pit lane. Yeah, dogleg transmission.
Uh,
Okay, so you and I both we did first, second stint, third stint was Ryan, fourth stint,
was Anthony.
unfortunately,
Well,
Anthony,
should have been Anthony.
the kill switch failed after I had like had my little problem.
And
It
also,
mostly like go ahead.
the car was doing this thing where if you ran over outside curbs, it would just like everything would shut off for a second and then come back on, and then you're like, "Oh, I guess we're going
Yeah.
again." We found out
Yeah.
why. We found out why. It just had to break more for us to understand why it was doing this thing. The kill switch just died, and it was. Remember, it's Saturday. We didn't. None of us really slept the day before, and we're like, "All right, Anthony, go!" And he's like, "It's not starting." And I'm like, "What?" Like, oh, kickstart it. So I'm like trying to push the car. Other crew members are like realizing, like, "Oh crap, we need to like push start it." Like something happened, and we pushed this thing. We were at the beginning of the pit lane. We pushed it all the way to the end of the pit lane, desperately trying to get this thing started because we were in a position to get in our bracketed class, like second or first, like we were fighting for it, right?
We were yeah, fighting for second.
W-
Or holding on to second, let's
We,
say.
yeah, we like maybe could have gotten first, but like definitely second if we just got the car out on the racetrack. And for like the first outing of the car, and I kept saying like on day one, like this is just practice. Like we're not even able to fuel properly. Um, yeah, it was like this is just practice, but we pushed it all the way down the pit lane, and Anthony just kept like popping the clutch, trying to start it. We'd push it again, pop the clutch, try to start it. It would start up, it would die immediately, and we just could not get this thing started. And then we got to the guy that would just pull the timer off, and there was like a little road off to the left, and we just pushed it over there, and we were all just huffing and puffing. I like you ever feel so like huffy and puffy where like your head feels like heavy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Stairmaster.
The Stairmaster. Anyways, we were all like that, and Diego turns to me. He's like, I gotta take better care of myself. so, I, so I was laughing when Diego said
I
that.
was laughing at no, I was laughing at Taylor.
Oh,
Were you huffing and puffing so much you could blow a house down?
oh, yes, I was.
That's so funny. But I did feel bad because I was off. I went to the bathroom and then I was kind of chilling out and taking a little quiet moment. And all of a sudden I saw you guys pushing the car back in the garage. And I walk over and you're like huffing and puffing. Poor Diego looks dead. He's just like
We know. Look, we
I'm like,
know,
did you just get out of the shower? I don't know what happened,
dude.
but and the car's obviously broken. And they're like, yeah, we just shoved it all the way down pit lane and all the way back here. Oh,
We know, like when it's a team effort to push a car and you're just wondering, like you're pushing as hard as you can, and you're just kind of wondering, like, is everyone else pushing as hard as they can? There was no doubt that Diego was putting his all into the trunk lid of that car. So we had some crew members. Eladio was one of them. Diego was one. Colin, Emilio,
Mark and
Mark.
Emilio. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. All those guys, just absolute like, yeah. Dude, it was so much fun. Like that's how day one ended, and we still had a blast. We ended up
Yep.
we ended up getting into the paddock spot, and I ran over to the like the Lucky Dog desk and had them send out a mass text for an ignition switch. Within like 45 seconds of that text being sent out, somebody came up and I'm like, oh, cool, we found one. I get back to the paddock. I haven't even got back to like where we are. And we're like right next to where the desk is. The team already found an ignition switch from the people next to us that unfortunately they had this 350Z with a V8 in it that they worked on it the whole weekend. They literally didn't race it. Those poor people, I would see it on track every once in a while, like failing, and then they would be back in their paddock spot, like trying to get this dumb car to work because cars are the absolute worst part of racing. And they had an extra one, so we got it installed. The goal was to get it fixed before the race was over, so we could make sure that the car is fixed and get Anthony out there to do some laps. So we got it together. Anthony went out there and did some laps. We finished the race. We clapped. I think we still finished like 7th or something.
Yep.
And but there was like a lot of like weird maintenance items for the car. Was there anything about race one that you wanted to talk about?
No. So we did like the turnaround. Well, you did you?
What? No.
Okay, so we did the turnaround that night. It was way more chill. I cooked dinner yet again. It was fabulous. Just if I might say so.
It was pretty good.
Excuse me. Oh, damn. If
Except
I might say so myself.
except I didn't have any because
What?
GRM gave me a ticket. Remember? I got a ticket from a meal ticket from GRM. The Grassroots Motorsports magazine was there, aka Tom was there.
You didn't have any of my dinner?
No, dude, I ate so much.
Damn.
Yeah, I ate so much brisket and barbecue stuff, and
We bought that sour cream just for you.
you did. I ate
Shit.
it. I ate it for breakfast the next day.
Yep. Okay, so we turned the car around. We got out of there at like 10:30, maybe 11. Pretty good, pretty good. And then we got there the next day. It's restarted the race. It's another 7-hour race, but we have to do. So
Hold
it's
on.
9 to 11. What?
I modified the fuel cap. We took it out, and we were trying to figure out how to get a Dremel in there. And eventually, I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm
Go
like,
ahead.
I'm
Sorry.
like, all right, screw it. I'm just gonna take a drill bit to it, and I just drilled a hole next to each other in a big circle in this fuel cap because you have to like take out the internal flap thing that like makes sense for an OEM car, but like we just had to. We had like it needed to take gas faster than it was because like the pit stops were just too long. We were losing time in the pit stops, and we had these like these jugs that could what were those jugs called? Not Megas,
Hunsicker.
Hunskers jugs, and they could like empty themselves in like 20 seconds, but we had nowhere to put the nozzle wouldn't fit into like a normal gas nozzle. So we took the gas filler cap out and I drilled a bunch of holes and then I went nuts with it with a hammer and a screwdriver and like punched it out. And so now we tested it after we reinstalled it. So it would take fuel much faster. It wouldn't take it as fast as it potentially could. So you'd have to gauge like the amount of gas that you were dumping in there. but now our pit stops were going to be much faster and hopefully a little less chaotic. And then there was a bunch of other maintenance items and stuff that were done on the car. We had a clunk on the diff where like a bolt was sheared that got fixed on Saturday night. Uh,
This comes in later.
yes, this comes in later. Foreshadowing. Uh, and there was one bolt in like a hour radius of this racetrack that like worked, and Ryan found it at Lowe's, I think. We installed windshield wipers because one of them flew off during the race, unfortunately, even though it was raining. Um, yeah, so there's some maintenance
Yeah.
items done to the car, checked over brakes and stuff like that. But yeah, we got back. I think what like got like 7.5 hours of sleep.
Yep.
Yep.
So the next morning, it's like a fresh start. We start at 9 a.m., 9 to 11, and then we have to take an 11 to noon break for Jesus, and then we raced from noon to 5. So Ryan started the race, and then Anthony drove, and then me, and then you. Ryan had an awesome first stint. Somehow, I kind of lost track of how we ended up 2 laps down in that first stint, but everyone was 2 laps down in the first stint
Yeah,
because I think that Fiero with the turbo swap was like wildly faster than it was the day before.
yeah, they were having issues on day one, and then day two, like it actually was like cutting some pretty good lap times. And it
Yeah.
on day one, it looked like I was behind it at one point, and it would be like wild understeer, which like that's not really a thing that you normally hear. But I'm telling you, like you would see the wheels turn, but the car would not turn, and then it would go into like snap oversteer, and like I was just like, something's wrong with that thing, and I would like pass it and just like keep my eye on it in the braking zone, making sure like because I'm like something's broken on that car. So that was day one for it. Day two, I whatever it was, they figured it out because it looked much more composed.
Yep. I don't there's not a ton more of stories from the race other than so Ryan did the first stint. Basically, all of us but the Fiero were like 2 laps down. So there was a ton of cars on the same lap that we were like all battling with. We did a little break. Anthony gets back in. He does his stint. It's great. We're battling for I think we were battling for somewhere between third and fifth when we pit the third time when I got in the car. And then when I pit, basically I was like saving fuel up to the point of like I know I'm gonna have to pit pretty soon. And as I go to throttle in the last corner, there's this giant clunk and then this mechanical like grinding, like constant grinding noise.
And it was like right
And
at the edge of the pit window. So we were like getting kind of ready.
yeah. So these guys weren't ready for me at all. I was like obviously not planning on pitting, but I just dived straight to the pit lane. It was obviously the diff had broken or failed or something. That diff bolt that DJ just mentioned had
It
fallen out.
it fell out
So
because
we sort of
it was the only
were
bolt.
done.
It was the only bolt in the area that would work, but it was a little shorter than it should have been. And and Anthony told us during his stint that it was making a clunk noise. uh like the clunk came back because all during all of day one it was just kind of like a clunk, and then when Anthony took the car out there, he's like, hey, it's the clunk got worse, like the clunk changed, because for most of the race it was just like, yeah, there's a weird clunk, I don't know, and we just like kept driving. But then when Anthony was driving it, he said that he came over the radio and said, hey, the clunk got worse. That's why we inspected it, saw that the bolt was sheared, that's why we replaced it the day before. Anyways, when Anthony was driving, he's like, "Hey, the clunk is back. It's not as bad as it was, but it's back." So we were planning on putting like a wrench to it when Tom was jumping in the car because Tom was third. I was planning on finishing the race, and Colin, who is the one that worked on the car, he left, and we like text him. We're like, "Hey, we don't have a lot of time because our fueling situation isn't the best, but and we're like fighting for the win at this point. Just to put in context, like, cause like Tom's gonna go out there, and then I'm gonna finish, and like it's gonna be close, like whether we get it or not in our like class B like synthetic competition thing. And so we're gonna put a wrench to it and just like tighten it back up because we just assume it like got a little loose or something, right? Like because it's just a little clunk, so it just probably loosened up a little bit. And we reached out to Colin. We're like, hey, what size is it? And he's like, oh crap, I don't really remember, but like 17 if I recall. And so we had the tools ready for that. Uh, Anthony gets out of the car, comes over, grabs the wrench, throws himself under the car. It's not a 17. We can't find the 19. And we're out of time. Tom, just go. Boom. And you drive away. Right. dude, if we maybe could have gotten a wrench on the stupid bolt, like maybe we would have finished that. Maybe we would have finished that race, or maybe the bolt was failing in a way where getting a wrench on it didn't actually matter. Um, but that was how Tom left the pit stall, was like us not able to find it. I looked at the timer. It took 20 seconds to drive to the end of the pit road, and it was at 18 seconds. And I was like, Tom, go, 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 go. And Tom just like ripped and like took off. So I was like, okay, chances are it's it's fine. We like us trying to like fix the little clunk that was happening all day yesterday. That was way worse than the current clunk. Like we're not gonna lose the race over that, right? That's like what's going through my head. Uh, and yeah, so Tom came in and was like, "It's broken," and it definitely was broken. I don't know what freaking broke under that car, but like the moment you got on throttle, it sounded like the whole drivetrain like folded, like when you got in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was the front diff bolt, so it was just like no support. So that was kind of our unceremonious finish to the weekend, but in general, we had a blast. I was gonna ask because we're getting toward the end here. Did you have any on track experiences that were like worth sharing for the podcast, for the drivers, for like people who are gonna drive, people who are gonna endurance race? Were there any like patterns or behaviors you're like, this is good, this is bad? Any strategies you had?
I would say I mean, I don't know if this necessarily happened while I was in the car, but I would just like see it happen a lot to like cars in front of me. Um, I think it, and like, is this like making overlap like after turn in where like cars are having to avoid each other? That there's no way for the car that's like making that overlap. There's no way that's saving them time. And then also, it's like super awkward for all cars involved. So you might as well just save some fuel, wait, and then pass them like into the next corner. Like if you didn't quite get there in time, uh, maybe it's a little bit different calculus when you don't need to save fuel and you can run flat out for 2 hours. But I just every time I saw that, it was uh it was just like what are we doing? Like for dude, Tom, I think you didn't see it. But at one point when I went through the kink, one car hit another car, which hit another car, and then three cars were sideways in front of me, like after the kink. And they like the seas split. Like all the cars went every which direction. I didn't even like hit the brakes or anything. I was already lifting because I was fuel saving. And these cars were scattering off in every direction. And I was just fuel saving by them. Like it was just so it looked dude, it looked so comical. I was like, this could be the Benny Hill theme out here. Like, wah, 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 nah, 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 nah. Like, yeah. I mean, that was probably the most entertaining thing. Anthony has a video. I don't know why Anthony just has the chaos all around him, but maybe Anthony could post a video in the Discord. But Anthony has a video of just like absolute chaos happening around him at all times. And I didn't experience any of that except that one instance in the kink. For the most part, I felt super chill in the car. I felt more intense trying to make time on my way home on the highway than I did in the car, which might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but I just felt like you've talked about in the podcast before where when you're like the slower car, it's like you very rarely were passed by somebody that you didn't allow to pass you, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because if it was like, okay, we're going to be side by side in the thing, I would just lift earlier, just save more fuel, like facilitate the pass. It's not going to cost me any time because that means I just get more throttle time later in my stints. Like, because it's like a resource to be used. Um, yeah, I just felt like super chill, except like half of my first lap where the wheel was sideways and going in reverse and all that. But besides that, like when I was just driving, yeah, I don't know, you just get like this zen. It's just nice. It's just like it's nice
Yep.
when you're just cutting laps for more than an hour. You like really do get like completely in the zone.
I think that's the way to be. And I don't know how to like I don't know if it's a driver's meeting note or if it's a just general thing, but my main takeaway was I haven't done an endurance race like that in like 10 months, maybe 11 months.
Yeah.
And the last ones I did were WRL, which is a little better. With speed disparity, like the people are all required to be licensed, let's say. So the main thing that I saw from this weekend was there were some people who were trying so hard
Yes.
to keep their position. And you're just like, what is this
What
for? You
why?
know, like what is the
There's 4 hours
yes,
left in this race. You think you're gonna defend this thing for
exactly.
4 hours?
Just lay over, like lift a little earlier, follow them. Like the first stint, the first day of the first stint of the first day, excuse me, was the E30 we were racing against. And whoever was driving that car, like they caught up to me as I was fuel saving. And I sort of settled into pace with them. And I realized they were quicker because they were not fuel saving, but I was better in traffic. So we were basically glued together for like probably an hour of the
Yeah.
first hour and 40 minutes. And they would do things like if I would get alongside them and then I would fuel save, they would like cut across my nose to like defend the position into the corner. They ran me into the grass like 3 times as I was
Oh my
alongside just
goodness.
because
Why are they
and
trying
I'm
so
just like,
hard?
I'm just trying to maintain position. I'm not even trying to pass you. I'm just not position. I'm trying to maintain momentum,
Pace and
you know?
speed, yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm not I like you screwed up coming out of this corner. I got to run alongside you. I'm still going to fuel save way up there. Like we can chill. And this person's like running me into the grass and they're throwing hands at me, you know. And I'm like, you're
Dude,
trying
that's so different.
you're literally on the freaking rev limiter at 11 and I'm just like in my car hanging out. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, so I guess I don't know if there's anything to take away from that, but I guess the biggest advice I'd have in this endurance racing stuff, like, especially budget enduro stuff, is like zoom out for a second, take a deep breath. One of the big things that I do is I like look at the other driver. And if they're not looking back at me and they've already thrown hands or something, there's an indication they're frustrated. And then I
Yeah.
get alongside and I look and they don't look. I'm like, "Oh my god, this person is like they're
Seething.
locked. They're like red misted, they're freaking pissed off. They are all over the place."
I
Um
do you ever like wait
just
do you ever like
little things like
wave
that
or
just
do you ever like wave or like thank people like while driving or something? Like,
yeah, constantly.
yeah,
Every
same.
single person who makes the pass easy, I wave to them.
Yep.
Every single one.
I'll give them horns like a woo, like we're having fun, right? Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Um I had forgotten that with this with the budget endurance racing stuff, but like if you ever get a chance to do budget endurance stuff, like you're listening to this, you got a chance to do it. Like make sure that you don't get sucked into that
Sucked into the
because it's
race.
just
The quote
it is a
unquote
race,
race.
but
Yeah.
exactly, but that little battle, like you're not in that little battle. That little battle doesn't exist. You're in a war. You're
Yeah.
like your race is way more important. I remember even we were talking about like, you know, how do we plan around this strategy for this race and this is our target and da 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 da. Da. We finally hit this point where like we don't even know what to plan for because we've never done this before. So let's just do our race
Yep.
to our best ability instead of that. We're not worried about any other targets. We're not worried about a lap time.
Yeah,
We're
we
not
were
worried about another
at
car.
first like I was trying to big brain it where I'm like, okay, so if we're just gonna be placing a bracket, like maybe like that's what we're saying, like, okay, we send Ryan out and see like what kind of bracket we get in, and then we can like fuel save to that lap time or whatever, and like we could just try to figure. And then Tom's like, uh, we don't know how any of this works, so us trying to like game it is like pointless. And then we all sat back and we're like, yeah, I guess if you completely understand how it works, then you can try to game it. But like we were like such on the front edge of the Dunning Kruger curve that it was like we don't know enough to not we don't know enough to understand what we don't know. Like so, it was like okay,
Right.
let's just do what we know, which is just optimizing the race that we can do.
And if you and on the like super extreme version of that, if you find yourself in one of these races, like blocking or getting blocked or like running someone off the track or someone's running you off the track or like they're just trying so hard to like whatever their little battle is in their brain or your battle is in your brain. Just like take a deep breath, back out of it. I've done these races before where that's happening and I asked the team like, "Are you guys okay if I just back off 5 seconds?" I'll throw 5 seconds away on the racetrack because we're probably going to make that up somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be around this
Well,
person. This is crazy. I don't want to be around this person.
you'll probably cost yourself 5 seconds with like the weird interaction that you're having with that other driver. Dude, I've had that a lot in endurance racing where it's like, okay, this car should drive away from me, but they're kind of making bad choices in traffic, and that's the only reason I'm
Yeah.
here. Um, I've had it where that car should absolutely. There was that one RX-7, that really 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 nice one, probably the nicest car in the whole paddock. was obviously faster than the Spec 3 that we were driving, and they were catching me. I could see them in the rearview mirror, like their car was getting just bigger and bigger lap after lap, and we were in relatively like open track, and they were like right behind me, and it was almost to the point where I'm like, I'll do an extra lift and like let them go, but it was like, okay, not quite. And then we came into some traffic, they disappeared again. I just drove away from them. They got like bogged down in traffic. I wonder, how does somebody get better at navigating traffic? Because I'm like wondering, like what, and I wasn't wondering this while I'm driving because I'm concentrating on the thing, but now I'm wondering like, what am I doing correctly that they aren't? And like, what could I tell them that might help them manage this traffic better? Because I, you know, we spent a lot of time on the podcast articulating the driving part of the car, and those things are hard to put into words. It is hard to put feelings into words that will invoke the same feelings for other people, right? That's probably the hardest part of trying to help somebody become faster, because when Tom and I are driving the car, it's not like we're talking to the car. We're just experiencing feelings, and we try to convey those feelings via like language, right? And that's very tough. When I'm carving through traffic, it's a feeling. I don't know if there's necessarily, and 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 I'm sure maybe with enough reps, maybe I could communicate exactly what I'm doing that is making me more efficient in traffic than the other people that would be around me. Uh, do you want to give it a shot, Tom? Because I'm not even sure.
Yeah, my main thoughts as you say that, which perfectly said because that it is really hard. The first thing I think of is pass on exits. So when I think about that, it's leaving space to carry momentum through the apex, to carry momentum through the exit, to build an opportunity to pass on the exit of a corner. But then when I think about that more and I kind of extrapolate out how that actually works, it's understanding the difference in the momentum between what you have and the car in front of you has, or getting good at guessing. Let's say it's
And
not understanding; it's getting good at guessing the momentum difference between the two cars. Go ahead.
and understanding yeah, the difference, but like where the pros and cons of like me driving this car and that person driving that car, and like how can I make that where I get past them with the least amount of friction possible. Now that's obviously easier said than done. Go on.
Yeah. So the idea being, um, I'm sorry if you've not been to CMP, but you know CMP starts off with a essentially 90-degree left, 45-degree right, 45-degree left, and they get increasingly faster. If I didn't pass somebody into turn one, which I barely passed anybody into turn one, my two options after that were to try to pass them around the outside of turn two while we're turning right, so I'm on their left, or follow them through turn two, just far enough away that I carry as much speed through turn three as possible so that I pass them up to turn four on the exit of turn three. That's an example of understanding the difference in the momentum that you have versus the momentum that they will likely have. Because the chances are that if you're catching a car, there's only so many places that a person can be slower than you. And there are going to be patterns with how that person that's slower than you, regardless of who that person is. If they're slower than you, there are probably places that they're going to be slower than you and places that they're not.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more difficult corners. It's going to be the places where it's easy to overslow. It's going to be places where it's easy to not go flat out when you could go flat out. So I would say the majority of passes that I make in races like this are corners where it's easy to go flat, but is not comfortable. Places like turn two at CMP, the kink at CMP, anywhere where it's like a very shallow radius corner at higher speeds or under acceleration where you can get alongside, and even being out of position doesn't matter because then you've established dominance, you've established the position over them.
Yeah.
Is this making sense so far?
Yeah, I wanted to add. So,
Yeah.
for example, you were saying sometimes you could pass people on the outside of turn two, or maybe you'd have to wait till turn three. If they were like, so this is the calculus that's going on when you're behind them. If you're like, okay, this driver is uh, enough off pace where I can establish position on the outside of turn two, before we get to turn 3, then I'm gonna do that. But if they're a little faster than that, then that's when you give them space to carry that speed through turn 3. But you also have to anticipate like the trajectory of where your car's gonna end up and where their car's gonna end up in your relationship to that. So you don't have to check up, you don't have to drive their speed of the corner. So you can actually like carry that momentum through. There was a time where I noticed what somebody wasn't using exits, so I just used all of the exit on turn 3. There's a ton of curbing out there, and I just passed them on the curbing. And the speed I carried meant that there was a place for me to come back into the track because that was like the way for me to carry the speed the best. Because if I would have shallowed up, because it was a pretty fast car in a straight line, if I would have shallowed up, I probably wouldn't have had overlap with them before I got to turn 4. So like that was like the on the spot like troubleshooting of like how I'm gonna get past this person where they have their car so much faster in a straight line, but I'm noticing they're not using exits.
Yeah. I guess if I could boil it down to a very simple like TLDR right at the end here is pay attention to the patterns of where the average driver loses time and find the way to pass them in those moments. So whether that's carrying entry speed on a corner where people tend to overslow, whether you're offline or not, whether it's an acceleration zone that's probably flat out but is uncomfortable to do flat out, people tend to not, they tend to do little lifts and things,
Mhm.
or exits. Very very rarely do I do a pass on entry in these types of races. I think
Unless you're like
I'm almost always planning for an exit or an outside or a like momentum based move.
yeah, unless you're like fully alongside of them for a while on the straightaway, and it's actually
Yeah.
probably in their best interest, and that doesn't happen all the time. That's where we talk about like lubricating the pass. Like I'm gonna pass that person, and it makes sense for them to just lift, so we both get full radius into the corner. That happens, I would say, more than half of the time. But sometimes somebody just stays there because they're not looking at that like big picture, like Tom was talking about, where it's like, okay, just lift a little bit. We both carry the speed coming through here. Like going again, if you don't know CMP, I'm sorry, maybe look at a track map. But turn 8 is a fast corner that leads into the fastest section of the racetrack. So if you're
Longest flat out. Yeah.
yeah, and if you're side by side in turn 8, then you lose so much lap time all the way down till turn 11 basically because it's all flat out through there. So s- most of the time when I was side by side with somebody coming up to turn 8 and I've caught them and they know that I've caught them, they would lift, we'd both get full radius into turn 8. So then we wouldn't lose this copious amount of time. Sometimes people wouldn't do that and we would just lose all the time and they didn't have like the big picture in mind. I still passed them. We just lost more time because they didn't like allow both of us to use the full radius into the corner. So it's like little things like that. So like we're talking about not losing time in traffic. Uh, if you're getting past, doing stuff like lubricating the pass so both of you can get full radius of a corner that that leads into a long acceleration zone. It's stuff like that where like you'll see that the average lap time be much quicker. Like you won't see like blazingly fast laps followed by a lap that's like 4 seconds off pace. You'll like they're all like really consistent because you're consistently making the correct decisions for what matters for the lap time. It is Tom like are you being a child that I said lubricant? Because I'm looking
Yes.
at gifs being posted in the chat.
Yep. Sorry. Dude, that weekend was so fun. I think we might get to do another one this year, but if we don't, either way, it was so fun.
I mean, I'm signed up. I'm going to Barber.
Yeah, I'm ready. If I hope that some discussion about like the either endurance racing, wheel to wheel aspects, or even just like fuel saving, I don't know, expectations for budget endurance racing, anything was helpful. We were basically just telling stories, which was fun.
It was fun. It's I'll
um,
be able to listen to this podcast like 5 years from now. Be like, Tom, remember that race we did at CMP? And be like, oh, we recorded an entire episode where we just talked about it. So this is for us,
yep.
not for you guys. So sorry.
Yeah. Screw y'all. No, I'm kidding.
Uh,
What are you doing this weekend?
do you want to answer a question?
How long? We're already at an hour and a half, aren't we?
Nah, hour and 14. We can talk about the weekend. Fine. You know what? Everyone who wrote in questions,
Let's wrap it up.
we'll get to you next time.
Yeah. This one's for us.
This weekend, I'm
Wait,
fu
oh wait, hang on. I do want to do one question.
okay.
Do one.
Is
Do
it
the thing
Bills?
first. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, hold on, that's a little quiet. We're not counting that one. Hold on. Emails.
This one's from Bill Zurr. Now that DJ is a national champion, he needs to think about when is the proper time to wear his new red jacket.
I've
Is
thought
it
about
considered
this.
showing off to wear it at local events? Should he wear it at tours and pros? Maybe only at nationals? Tom, you could be his sensei on this subject. All right, you've thought about it. DJ, if you don't know, Solo Nationals champions get a red jacket that says SCCA National
So,
Champion on it.
yep. And they're very
It's
obvious.
very, very loud and obvious. So
Yes.
what have you thought about?
I've thought about it. I don't know how I wear that jacket and not feel like a little embarrassed. I don't know why though. I don't know why I would feel embarrassed because it's like it's such a great achievement, but like I don't know. It's conflicting feelings. Maybe you can decode it for me, Tom. I'm glad Bill wrote this in because I actually do want your advice of like when's the appropriate time to wear it? Can I only wear it at Solo Nationals because I feel like that's an appropriate time, but I don't know where the line is. Like where do I actually like is it if I wear it at a local like I don't know.
Okay, so when I got my first one, I decided I vow to only wear this jacket. No, I vow to wear this jacket with pride, but only when it's cold enough to need it. That was my line.
Okay.
Because you should be proud of it. Like it's a really
Yeah.
cool thing. But if it's not warm enough, if it's not cold enough to need a
And
jacket,
if I'm sweating in the
because
jacket,
yes, because people do that. There are people who have those jackets who wear them when it's too warm for a jacket. And you're like, come on, man. Or come on, bud. Come on, person.
yeah.
Like, come on, what are we doing? So I think if you wear it with pride, but only when it's cold enough to need it, that's a perfectly acceptable way to wear it.
Bill writes
Because
in the
honestly, I'll say
yeah,
at this year's nationals, it was like the coldest nationals I've been at in maybe ever.
it was a
It's like very,
flood.
very cold
It was
nationals.
a flood of red
I saw
jackets.
there were so many
I'm like,
national champion
I'm like,
jackets.
what are they just giving these things out? What the hell?
Yeah, there were like dozens of them everywhere I looked. But yeah, I don't know where I wear it unapologetically with pride, like outside of motorsports all the time.
I found out why there were
At
so many.
motorsports, I don't know. Wait, what? Sorry, I've
I,
been talking a lot.
I
Go ahead.
found out I found out why there was so many jackets, by the way, because I brought up a comment. I'm like, what are they just giving these things out? I said that to somebody at the event. And I found out that there's a couple regions that give out that exact same jacket as like their like you won the class for the year thing. So that's why there were
That's
so
kind of
many.
wild.
Dude,
Okay.
uh, this is a hot take. Local regions, what are we doing? Don't do that. Pick a different color.
Pick your own color. Make a color.
Yeah,
Like
make
be
it your
proud of
own
that
thing.
color.
Yeah, make it your own thing.
Taylor says small local practice day or solo nationals, no in between. Bill says I wear mine in one situation only at instructing novice schools. I think the main thing is that like what we do is basically a warm weather sport. So if it's not warm enough,
If it's not cold enough,
if it's not cold enough to need a jacket, don't wear the jacket.
don't wear the
Like you
jacket.
look like an idiot if you're wearing the jacket and it's not cold enough for a jacket.
I might keep sending the design back because I was told that they'll do as many designs as you want until you like approve it to put on the jacket. I might keep
Yeah.
sending it back until it comes with a hat. Like I need a baseball hat. Like if I don't have a solo national champions, oh no, that would be a red hat. I don't want a red hat.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that was close.
We could do a different one though. We could do a black hat.
Oh my goodness. I just realized what I almost ended up with. Oh. Uh, moving on.
Yeah. All right. What are you doing this weekend? I think that's a good answer. Wear it with pride, but only when it's cold enough.
Um, I'm autocrossing Peter's new CST car for the first time. Woo! I'm
Cool.
excited.
Where?
Yeah. At
Pit
Steel
race?
Cities. Yeah. You want to come with? Oh no, you're busy. Tom, what are you doing?
I am announcing for the 9th year running the SCCA Solo National. Oh my God.
Oh,
SCCA runoffs.
you better practice that a couple times looking in the mirror or something, Tom. 'Cause You
Good thing
don't want
I'm not the lead. Good thing I'm not the
to.
lead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the runoffs are qualifying Thursday, Friday, racing Saturday, Sunday, and I'm on the air with Ryan Marine and John Fippen, and I won't be on the air with Larry McLeod, but he'll be there, and then me. We're the people
That'll be fun. I'll be tuning in. I always enjoy watching.
at Road America.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on. What did I missed? I completely blanked. Tom, can you say what classes you're doing again?
I haven't looked. I forgot.
Oh, okay. Hopefully it spec me out
I,
again. I enjoyed that.
I tend to get the same one. So Larry does a lot of karting, and he knows more or prefers. I'm not sure about like sports racers and formula cars and stuff like that. Excuse me. And I know more about sports car, you know, closed top racing. So for like the last 8 years, basically, I've gotten mostly like spec Miata, touring, GT, B spec, you know, like
Yeah,
cars,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's gotten most of the formula prototype, you know, production here and there type stuff. So
I
probably mostly that.
I have this thing happen, and it's probably just because when I started paying attention to the runoffs, it was just at VIR for a couple years. But when you're saying the runoffs, I'm just imagining that it's at VIR, and then about 30 seconds ago, I was like, "Oh no, wait, it's at Road America." Just it's like my brain defaults to the runoffs being at VIR. I wonder how many years in a
Yeah.
row it has to be at Road America until my brain defaults to it being at Road America.
Honestly, I grew up going to the runoffs at Mid Ohio because I was of the age and of the like proximity that we were going to Mid Ohio for the races, and there was the runoffs at Mid Ohio from like 1996 to maybe 2007. I want to say it was like maybe a full decade or so. And when I was a little kid, it was the only race weekend that you would go to, and it was like all racing. There
Yeah.
was like no qualifying that you would go watch. There was no practice sessions or downtime
Yeah, yeah,
because it
yeah.
wasn't pro racing. It was just like race, 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 back to back to back all weekend long. Uh, so I still think of it as a Mid Ohio thing.
Yeah.
But before that, it was at Road Atlanta, and then it moved around a bunch, and now it's going to be at Road America this year and next year. But honestly, like it's wild to be the commentary team for this thing that I've been watching since I
Yeah,
was like
that's pretty
3 years old.
cool. I'm so pumped that you keep getting to do that. And then but
Yeah.
you do I mean you do an awesome job. So everyone tune in to Tom. Make sure there's a chat and Tom somehow he'll be
I'm literally watching the YouTube chat on like while we're doing it.
yeah,
So
and
be in there.
Discord at the same time. So like
Uh-huh.
like literally and Tom will be like you'll hear him talking and then you'll see him typing as well at the same time. I don't know how Tom does that. I don't know. He's a wizard. I don't know.
And I say the stuff in Discord and YouTube that I can't say on the air.
Yeah.
So
So join our Discord.
hopefully I don't piss anybody off and get fired
So
this year from any
join our
other
Discord if
series.
you want the oops and the can't park there buds. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, that's fun. Well, Tom, I hope you have a blast this weekend, and uh, I love your hair and hope you win. I didn't play the music. I'm still waiting for you.
Okay.
You look so wrong. You're like, oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna play the outro. Thanks everyone for joining us this week. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for
And
hanging out with us.
thanks for hold on. Thanks for Ryan and all the whole crew, Spicy Cat Racing. Uh, we should probably do more. Ryan's been bugging us for him to sponsor the podcast. We just haven't figured out a way. But check out spicyracing.com. You can literally just Google it. It's a whole shop. It has all the stuff, like racing stuff. It's like aimed at the driver, not necessarily the car, which I think that is a good fit for the podcast because we're aimed at the driver and not the car.
Spicy cat racing.
What did I say?
Spicy racing. I just Googled that. That's not a thing.
That sounds like you might end up on a weird web page. All right, you ready?
Yes. And for all of you who might have gotten the like bug to try out some budget endurance racing, I hope you do. I hope you enjoy it. I love your hair and I hope you win.